So, there's a reason why I am sat here with frizzy hair. My makeup is probably not still on because this is post-run, post-climb fit class, post-shower. I'm sat here in my pyjamas, and the reason for that is because this one is about what we look like and how sometimes we objectify ourselves for the benefit of other people. I don't really know kind of like where to start with this one. I've not really kind of thought about it in as much detail in terms of how I'm going to articulate it and what I'm going to talk about. So we'll just see how this goes, see what crops up. Someone made like a throwaway comment tonight, something really random, and it just kind of got me thinking about how we judge each other and how we view each other based on what we look like and the comments that we make about each other and how that might have an impact on people. I find it really, really worrying when I look at things like social media, say having a browse on Instagram, which I don't tend to do very often because I'm astounded by what I actually see. But people post pictures of themselves all the time, and they are pictures which are so filtered and so unrealistic that they're not a accurate representation of what they look like. You know, I used to have friends that would practice posing in front of the mirror before a night out to make sure that the angle that they were being photographed at was photogenic and that it portrayed them in their best light. And it's kind of like what planet are you on? Like, you're a human, but you're an animal. Like, you are not meant to be like perfect. Like, what is that? I kind of find it really funny that people won't post certain pictures of themselves on social media because they don't look attractive in them. Or I guess people, I mean, I do it. I untag myself from ugly pictures, like I do. Like, why do we do that? That is a picture of us, probably in our more realistic light. Why do we untag ourselves from it? Why do we put profile pictures on that are, you know, we look quite attractive in them? Why do we do that? What purpose is that? It's almost like, you know, there's this thing in research by Dion et al. And found that there's this halo effect. So if someone's attractive, you globally think that they have other good qualities like being honest and trustworthy and whatever. So I guess being attractive kind of has its benefits, doesn't it? That you're thought of as a better person in other kind of characteristics. And it's been found in kind of criminal research as well. So I think it was, what was it? I want to say Ethan, but I don't think it was. It begins with an E. It might come to me later. But the Efron, that's it. No, it began with an E. So Efron et al. Found that criminals who are more attractive than the victim, so the defendants that are more attractive than the victim, are likely to get less sentences, you know, less likely to be sentenced, and if they are sentenced, get lesser sentences, because of this halo effect. And if the victim is equally as attractive to the defendant, it cancels it out. So it's kind of like that comparison, like looking at someone who's attractive, you might to think that they're honest, which is interesting, isn't it? And then, you know, it's I see pictures of children pretty much, you know, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, to me they're children. You know, I teach people that age, to me they're children. You know, I'm quite protective over them, and I'm always shocked when I hear them talking about things that I probably talked about when I was that age, but it feels really strange to me. And like when they're on their Facebook and you see pictures of them and they have everything on show, and it's like that cannot be unseen. Like I don't want to see you like that. Like that makes me really concerned about where you're going looking like that, and what other people are perceiving you like, and what's going to happen to you because you look like that, what experiences, negative experiences you're going to have because you're looking like that on a regular basis. And when I mean looking like that, I mean people that have everything on show, the whole body's on show for everyone to see. Like, there's nothing left to the imagination, there's nothing kind of modest in the way they dress. It's just kind of all on show. And I just think, I find that really strange. I find it really odd that people would display themselves so overtly to everybody else, and to expect, I mean, what are they expecting from that? I've never understood how on a night out girls will display their, I mean, literally the only thing that you can't see is a nipple. Like, you can see absolutely everything else. And I find that so bizarre. Like, I see these dresses that people wear that have everything, and I'm kind of like, I mean, maybe it's because I don't have anything and I just don't get it, but like, I could wear a dress like that and I would probably look better than what they look, to be fair. And I wouldn't dress like that. I couldn't walk around with everything out and expect people to view me in the way that I would prefer to be viewed. I am not an object for somebody else's pleasure. I am not there for people to get enjoyment from looking at. Like, go and look at a statue, go and look at a picture of art, go and look at some model that is doing that for a living. Like, that, I am not here for that. I'm not here for your viewing pleasure. Like, I don't understand why you would degrade yourself to that level of, that's all you're worth, that you aren't anything more than what you look like, that you get your attention from how people respond to what you look like, that you enjoy that attention. If I go on a night out and I have guys like leching over me, that's not a pleasant feeling. That's not nice. That's not, and even if someone is attractive that is chatting me up in a lechy way, like, that's not attractive either. Like, that is, and I'm sure it's the other way around as well. Like, when girls go up to guys and are like, saying how fit they are and, I don't know, like, touching their muscles and things, like, it's the same, isn't it? It's exactly the same. You kind of objectifying that person for your own kind of benefit. You don't see who they are underneath. You don't see who they are as a person. In reality, when you're in a relationship with somebody who you genuinely care and love, you don't care about what they look like that much. I mean, okay, you have to be attracted to the person, but it's not even kind of what they look like that you're attracted to most of the time. It's deeper than that. It's more than that. I remember I had a conversation with an ex-boyfriend once, and it was kind of like, I was saying that if they weren't inside their body, I wouldn't feel the same about them. Like, it's them that animates the body that is what I'm attracted to. Like, the mannerisms, the way that they respond to things, the way that they kind of are, that's what's attractive. Not, and it's interesting actually, because that's a Black Mirror episode where a woman kind of, I don't want to spoil it, but it's an amazing episode. I'm probably going to spoil it. There's this woman who, she loses her husband dies, and she gets a robot made of him, which is like, it's the advanced technology, so it's like it's a person, it's a sex doll, but it's soft and whatever. I think you get the picture. I'm saying way too much, but anyway, the way that it's programmed is it looks at all social media entries and then replicates that person, so that they are the same person, they respond in the same way, they are the same way as what that person would be. But it's still not that person. It's still the essence of that person is missing. And it's almost like that's what someone falls in love with. They fall in love with your essence. They don't fall in love with what you look like. They don't fall in love with whether you pose in a certain way on a picture. Like, who does that? I mean, let's get realistic. Like, everybody has like a double chin. Like, in order for your neck to move, your head to move, you need skin there. Like, that's normal. It's normal to have a double chin. It's normal when you sit down to have a belly. Like, that belly, you know, if you didn't have a belly there when you stood up, you wouldn't be able to stand up, because there wouldn't be any give there for you to be able to do that, or for you then to be able to sit down. Like, you need stuff there. Like, I mean, what else do people have issues with? Like, they pretend like if they're a girl, that they don't have hair in places where women aren't supposed to have hair. Like, you're an animal, you have hair everywhere. Like, that's normal. Like, don't pretend like you don't. Like, of course you do. You know, having spots everywhere, like, that's normal too. Like, what else is like people think's weird? Like, having like, I don't know, scaly skin, or like having dandruff, or like, come on now, this is like normal stuff. This is what everybody kind of experiences. Everybody has, you know, everybody has. I don't know. Everyone's the same. Why are you insecure about these things? Grey hairs. I've got loads of grey hairs. Like people get weird about wrinkles. Like, your face moves. Like, it's gonna wrinkle. Like, that's normal. Like, what is that? Or like, people have issues with bags under their eyes. Like, this is like the most kind of sensitive area of your face. It's where you're kind of like, you know, it's the indentation of the sockets of where your eyes are. Like, that, apparently it's like paper thin or whatever, skin wise. So if you like rub here, you're gonna cause a lot of damage to yourself. But like, that's like normal. Everyone has bags under their eyes. It's because we don't sleep enough. We don't, you know, we sleep weirdly as well. Like, we never used to sleep for just one straight 8 hour. I mean, I say 8 hours, I don't get 8 hours, I get like 5. But like, people used to sleep in 4 hours, and then they'd get up and they'd sit in bed and read and whatever, and then they'd have 4 hours more sleep. Like, that was what used to be normal. It's not normal anymore. It's completely different. Like, we're not, you know, we'd be dead by 40 usually. You know, like, things like getting bags and stuff, like, does that matter? I'm just rambling now. So I think what I've not really mentioned is that, why are people needing to portray this image of being attractive? You know, I was talking a little bit before about having benefits socially, because people probably like you more. But what, you know, if it's not for the attraction of a mate, because let's face it, like, being attractive is like the base level of trying to attract a mate. Like, you need a lot of other good qualities to attract a mate. So it can't be that reason. So what is it? Why do we need to feel attractive? Why do we need to look at ourselves and think that we are attractive? Why, when we look at ourselves, do we think that we're not attractive and that's a problem? You know, I think there was a quote somewhere, or something that I watched, or something that kind of, it was like, what was it? I don't remember, but it was, it's funny, isn't it, how you can have a thought in your mind, but you can't track it down, and you can't pinpoint it, and it's like whizzing around, and you know the feelings that you're getting from it, but you can't articulate what it was. But it was something like, another species, this is why this is weird, maybe it was a dream, another species kind of commented, it's going to come to me like at the most weird time, but anyway, so another species commented on how you can't recognise how amazing you are because you're so used to seeing yourself. That's not really what it was. I've got it like as an image in my head, but how can I articulate this image? Think of it this way, right? So when we look at ants, they all look the same. When we look at a type of bird, a robin, they all look the same. To every kind of animal, they all look the same. But as humans, we recognise differences in our faces and things like that. And so you spot a lot of differences and a lot of kind of things. You know, the reason why people are deemed to be attractive is because they have a symmetrical face. People with symmetrical faces are more attractive. People who have larger eyes, people who have larger lips, because they mimic childhood features, and childhood features are more attractive, and the reason for that is because we have young, and so that we don't neglect the young, and so that we don't eat the young, they have to look very cute and attractive. And so babies have really large eyes, and they have, you know, large lips in proportion to the rest of their face. And so, you know, when you get older, if you still have those features, then you're deemed more attractive. For females, hair is a big thing. Like, if you have long, luscious locks, you're deemed to be more attractive because it's a signal that you're fertile. You know, all these kind of things that deem us attractive or not, they're all kind of biologically inspired. You know, women's waist to hip ratio is the reason why some are deemed more attractive than others. If you've got an hourglass figure, you're deemed as more attractive because you're more fertile. You know, your waist to hip ratio is an indication of fertility. You know, having acne on your face indicates that your genes are a little bit faulty, so, you know, you don't want to reproduce with someone that's got acne. But it transpires in a cognitive sense of spots. That's not attractive, but biologically it's because, you know, you want someone who's going to give you good young. What was I talking about? Like, what was even my first point? Oh, why we're trying to be attractive. Yeah. Why do we want to be attractive? Why do we have to be? Why, you know, if you're not, you know, if you're in a job where you have to be attractive, where you have to look good all the time, then that's going to be an issue for you. But in your day-to-day life, do you need to be attractive? Like, you're not having to attract a mate if you're already in a relationship. Why do people in relationships still want to post pictures of themselves being really attractive? Well, who's that for? Who's that a benefit for? Like, why do I put makeup on? I'm not really doing it to attract other people. I'm doing it to make myself feel better. So why don't I feel better without it? Why do I need it when I leave the house? Why do I need other people to see me as attractive? Why is that? It's odd, isn't it? It's odd that we all have this kind of conditioning that we have to look good. We can't go out in, like, not having showered, or, like, I mean, we'll smell, but, like, that's not attractiveness, is it? I think when you get older and you've experienced relationships where they're a bit more in depth and they're a bit more about your connection with that person rather than what you look like, that you kind of realise that you don't need to be attractive. You don't need to care about those things that you're insecure about. You know, they don't matter. You know, if you find someone that genuinely cares about you as a person and genuinely loves you, they will love all those things that you don't like about yourself. They probably won't even see them as anything to be weird about. And so it's pretty pointless to be worried about it. It's pretty pointless to care about it. Oh, that was my point. So, like, you know, these people that are objectifying themselves, I think usually it's because they're insecure. Because if they put a picture up of themselves looking good or looking filtered, they get feedback from other people saying, oh, you look really good, and oh, you look amazing, and all these likes and stuff on pictures and whatever. I tend not to like pictures like that. I have a principle of not wanting to give that person that hope that they need to, not hope, that kind of, you're basically conditioning them to keep posting pictures of themselves, to keep wanting that kind of external reinforcement that they're attractive. That kind of, oh, look at me, look at how attractive I am. You know, I posted a picture of myself recently and I looked attractive in it, I thought. No, I don't look like that every day. That's not what I look like. That's a filtered version of myself. Like, I do not wake up like that. I wake up more like this. Like, I don't look like that every day. When I look in the mirror, that's not what I see. And I'm not unhappy with what I see, but this is the more realistic version of what I look like. That's not. And yet people good-willed, like, you know, I'm not, you know, complaining about this at all, but commented on how they thought that I was attractive, and it was like, well, does that matter? Does that matter? Do you need to tell me that? Like, I'm not insecure. I'm not putting it on to get that feedback from people of yes, I'm attractive, or no, I'm not. Like, that picture does not look like me. That is not what I look like. And, you know, a few people said that, oh, that is what you look like. It's like, really? Do you see me like that? That's interesting. That's interesting that that's the perception of what I look like, because I don't look like that all the time. Like, that's a heavily made up, like, filtered kind of, the lighting's really good in it. Like, that's not what I look like. I don't look like that all the time at all. I think if I look like that all the time, like, I'd have people queuing out the door for me, and that's not the case. I think I'm a very acquired taste, which I'm perfectly fine with. I would much rather that than be objectified and thought of in just that way. Like, I'd rather someone fall in love with me as a person and see past what I look like. You know, imagine that you date somebody who thinks you're beautiful and thinks you're amazing looking, and, you know, very strong if you're a guy, very gender, very stereotypical. You know, thinking all these things. What are you going to do when you get older, when you don't look as attractive anymore? Like, is this why people break up? Is this why people kind of don't make it? Because they see themselves changing, they see other people changing, and they're not the same as what they looked like before. They're not as attractive anymore. They're older, they're wrinkly, you know. Like, I would really like to imagine that the person that's with me is not with me for what I look like, because when I get old, they're not really going to want to be with me anymore. Like, does that not make common sense? So I find that very odd as well, that people don't consider that. I'm mumbling again. I'll cut this.